Most DJs try and level up their scratching by cramming in harder and harder techniques. But here's the truth. It's not about adding more. It's about fixing the small things that make a huge difference. My name is DJ Blakey, I'm a DMC champion, and in this video, I'm gonna show you the real shortcuts to instantly sound more pro. Let's get into it. I've helped over 200 DJs inside my online community clean up their scratches, sound more musical, and start building combos that actually work in real sets. This video is going to give you real, practical guidelines that you can apply today. I'm going to walk you through 5 areas where DJs get stuck and show you exactly how to break through. Now, fader hand timing and control is so important because clean fader control unlocks everything else. Most DJs tense up and they try and force the fader clicks, but your fader hand needs to feel super relaxed, and once it does, everything else will flow. When it comes to having a relaxed hand on the crossfader, there should be a nice flow and smoothness to how you turn the crossfader on and off. A tense hand is really going to hinder your progress because it's going to make those intricate fader cuts way harder to do. A tense hand will look like this. Usually the hand is standing more upright and the fingers are kind of straight, like my thumb is here. I have seen this happen to countless DJs learning to scratch. And I think it's because DJs think that to perform all of the intricate fader techniques, their hand has to be on high alert to move the fader. But actually the opposite is true. With a relaxed hand, the scratches are going to flow way cleaner. And by the way, if you would like to download all of these scratch samples that I'm using in this video, then just hit the link in the description and I'll send them to your email for free. Good scratching isn't just about speed, it's about clarity. When your scratches are sounding untidy and muddy, it's almost always because of very small technical issues. And that's why learning each scratch technique in the simplest way possible is super important for your progress. So let's take the chirp scratch with sample number 3 on my free scratch tool. A very common mistake with the chirp scratch is not using the very beginning of the sound. Using the start of the sound is super important for the chirp scratch, and it's a very common error that DJs don't use that percussive beginning of the sound. Like that. Now this is what clean chirp scratches are supposed to sound like, and I'm going to do them super slow. Here is a common issue that I see DJs make when they're trying to learn the chirp scratch. Getting that very beginning percussive element of the scratch sample is vital for the chirp scratch. If you don't get the beginning of the sound like this, then the chirp scratch just will not sound right. It's also so important to keep your hand on the jog wheel nice and light. This is going to make smooth scratching so much easier. And these are the habits that you really need to form early on in your scratching journey. And if you want to skip all of the guesswork and get a full system for learning how to scratch properly, then feel free to check out my Ultimate Scratching course. It's helped over 200 DJs level up their skills, and I break everything down step by step. The link is in the description. Accuracy is so much more important than speed, because speed without control just sounds messy. When learning to scratch, it's completely normal to not be able to scratch at a fast pace until you get to a certain level of competency. That's why it's so important to learn every single scratch technique as slow as you need to be able to perform it 100% perfectly. Learning scratching is all about building speed as you go. So let's take the stab scratch, for example. I'm going to use sample number 1 on my free scratch tool. And the stab scratch goes like this. You start with the fader closed and you push the sound forward whilst turning on the crossfader quickly and then turning it back off again, like this. So we only got the forward sound in the stab scratch. So now with the fader closed, we bring the sound back to the start of the sound and we repeat the process. This is what the stab scratch sounds like, very slow. Now the stab scratch is a really good example of a scratch technique that would sound super messy if you try and perform this quickly without being able to perform it perfectly at a slow pace. Now the beat that I've got loaded into deck 2 is normally 95 BPM, but I'm going to play it at 60 BPM and I'm going to show you how learning the stab scratch or any scratch technique should be done slowly before you try speeding it up. And then you can speed it up once you get more comfortable. So now let's speed it up to 70 BPM. And then once you're comfortable at that speed, let's speed it up again, this time to 80. Now let's speed it up to 90. So you can see there how speeding up the deck as you're practicing is the perfect way of learning a technique slowly at first and then building up the pace gradually. This is so important because I see a lot of DJs trying to run before they can walk, and this is just going to make your scratching sound messy. So the best thing to do is slow it right down until you can perform the scratch perfectly and then gradually build speed over time. Control and accuracy is built through drilling, not rushing. Inside my private community of the course, I give direct feedback to my students' scratch videos. If you want that kind of support, the course comes with full access to that group. Great scratch combos are just simple techniques stacked cleanly. When it comes to scratch combos, most DJs try to switch scratch techniques way too fast. But here is a demo of a simple scratch combo of 2 stabs, 2 transformers, and 3 chirps. And I'm going to begin performing this scratch combo at a slow speed, which will give you an idea of just what I mean. All scratch combos are just simple techniques stacked cleanly. So that is how I would practice this scratch combo before moving on to performing it at a faster tempo. Now, of course, it's super important to know how to perform each one of those scratch techniques, the stab, the transform, and the chirp, perfectly before you start to build your own scratch combos. Real progress happens when you keep things simple and clear before moving on to learning those techniques in a more fast and complex way. This is the kind of stuff that I wish somebody had taught me when I was first learning to scratch. Inside the course, I show you how to structure your scratching so that it sounds musical, clean, and actually useful in a real set. If you want to check it out, the link is down in the description. Now, when those difficult times inevitably come when you're learning to scratch, it's important to remember that you're not behind, you're just on your own timeline. I remember when I was first learning the boomerang scratch, and that one really took it out of me. But with persistence and consistent drilling and the right guidance, I managed to break through that wall, and now the boomerang scratch is one of my favorite scratches to perform. Hitting a wall doesn't mean you're bad, it just means that you're pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. And that is absolutely vital to getting better at this. Progress only comes from discomfort. It can also be a really good idea to keep track of your progress by filming a practice scratch session every couple of weeks or so. And then on your learning journey, you can refer back to those videos and you will be surprised at how far you've come. If you're still showing up to practice, then trust me, you're doing better than most. I've made every single one of the mistakes in this video myself, but once I fixed them, everything changed. If you want to finally learn scratching the right way, in a way that's structured, clear, and actually fun, then hit the link below to check out the course. You'll get over 80 videos, free scratch samples, free practice beats, plus you'll get access to my online community, which is full of DJs just like you trying to get better. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something from this video, and if you want to check out more from me and my channel, then YouTube recommends this video right here.